into cybersecurity? There's a ton of content out there, and if you don't know where to start, it can be overwhelming, even paralyzing. So let's fix that. Welcome to Simply Cyber, a community of tens of thousands of aspiring and active cybersecurity professionals focused on networking, knowledge sharing, and professional development. I'm Dr. Gerald Ozier, Chief Content Creator at Simply Cyber, inviting you to get the answers to your cybersecurity problems with hundreds of cybersecurity videos answering your frequently asked questions, interviewing industry experts, and live streaming daily cyber threat briefings hosted by me. Now get the stories and insights you won't find anywhere else. Hit subscribe now and dig into all the fresh content on the channel and in the community. Nothing should stop you from launching and leveling up your cybersecurity career today.
Good Monday morning. Today is April 24th. And if you're seeing this ugly mug, then you know Dr. Gerald Ozier has been preoccupied with another personal adventure that he is unable to greet all of you, ladies and gentlemen, this morning. So unfortunately, you'll have to stick with me just one more day potentially, but good morning. Welcome to the show. Again, today is April 24th, 2023, and it is episode 351 of the Simply Cyber Daily Cyber Threat Briefing, the show that's going to help break down all the latest cyber threats and how you can incorporate this information into your cybersecurity practices. But before we dig into the show, I'd love to share the stream sponsors with you today. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to Panoptcy. You guys, if you've been around for a while, you kind of know a little bit about Panoptcy, but I want to tell you from my perspective a little bit. They are all about quantified risk assessment. Now, what is quantified risk assessment, Eric? Well, it really is a hard topic to discuss, right? So, you're in the CISO, you're the cybersecurity guy or gal at the organization, and you're like, hey, we really need to fix this, right? All the stuff that we're talking about, right? We need to fix this. Well, the C-suite's like, we're gonna YOLO it, whatever. You know, having somebody like Panoptcy Security backing you up and like, yeah, well, this thing right here that was just talked about, this has a quantified dollar amount risk associated with that of not patching or not updating or whatever this is around the business. When I tell you, I can't tell you how many times we are on a DFIR case and everything that a business owner has put off because they didn't see the value in closing X, Y, or Z vulnerability, and now they got popped for ransomware, insider threat, data exfiltration, whatever the case. All of a sudden, that business has money to fix that. So I know this is a little detrimental to Barricade Cyber, but get with Panoptcy Security, right? Because then you can actually help show the business owner, the C-suite, what is going on and what is a real dollar amount for not fixing this thing. I love the good mornings, everybody. We will do a little bit of jaw jacking. DFIR case. It is digital forensics and incident response. There, Jasmine Smith. Let me tell you about the other sponsor, one of the other sponsors of the show. It is XM Cyber. Look, organizations are overwhelmed with tens of thousands of exposures across the cloud, on-premise environments on a monthly basis. If you watching this show, you're seeing new CVEs are being discussed and talked about and disclosed and things of that nature, right? So trying to reduce your cyber risk is almost an impossible task without a dedicated team behind you. Discover the most critical threats and practical tips on how to overcome remediation fatigue with a new approach to efficiently reduce the risk with XM Cyber's 2023 State of Exposure Management Report. That link is down in the chat. Going with, getting XM Cyber to help find the vulnerabilities, using Panoptcy to help show the impact will help you not use a company like Barricade, right? So good morning to everybody. If you are joining this, please say hi, hashtag team live. I love that, everybody was doing the team replay, and because of all of you, we now have team live that's actually in full effect. So if you are on Team Replay, hello into the future. How are you doing? Do the hashtag Team Replay when you are catching up on this. If you're Team Hybrid, you're watching at 2x, 3x speed, trying to get caught up with my ADHD ramblings. Welcome to the show. And look, if you're really like me, you are a passive observer. You sit in the background, you just kind of watch and whatever. Just say hi. I'm passive observer. I'm over here working on this thing, but I'm listening, right? I'm listening. But I got this other stuff I got to focus on as well, right? If you're like me, you listen to music and stuff like that when your head's down and focused on some work and stuff like that. So with that, let's get on with the show this morning. I hope everybody is doing well. We do have some interesting topics today. So let me know if y'all want a few minutes of jaw jacking at the end. Just do like hashtag jaw jacking at the midroll when I'm actually paying attention. Do hashtag jaw jacking and I'll stick around for a few minutes, but only if you ladies and gentlemen want it. With that, let's fire it up. Oh, this thing worked I tested this thing 6 times. All right, we're gonna go to old True Blue. Hold on. Let's launch that sketchy VNC player or VLC player. Hold on. This is crazy. There's something with the website being shared in Restream. There's some sort of compatibility issue, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what it is, but it's driving me nuts. But anyway, here we go.
From the CISO series, it's Cybersecurity Headlines.
It's Monday, April 24th, 2023. Energy sector organizations in US and Europe hit by the same supply chain attack as 3CX. On Friday, researchers from cybersecurity firm Symantec revealed that Trojanized software from the financial services company Trading Technologies impacted 2 additional organizations in the energy sector, as well as 2 other organizations involved in financial trading. The researchers did not reveal how exactly the organizations were infected, nor did they reveal the names of the victim organizations, but said the infection chain started with a corrupted version of the X-Trader installer, which was digitally signed by the company and made to look benign.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, when we've seen this come out, what was it, 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 now? That 3CX had a vulnerability that was pushed out through its updates on the desktop application. Everybody in the InfoSec, I mean, just common sense, really, that if you take a look at 3CX's organization, on their website, they've got multiple countries listed there. So this was going to be a global impact, right? So, we're going to see more and more stories about this. I did learn, if you were on the show last week, I was talking about this X-Trader software. So I did find out more about this a little bit. I thought it originally inappropriately that it may have been like a torrented version or a cracked version of this software, but talking with some other folks in the space, come to find out X-Trader software was actually end of life to back in like 2021 or 2022. Somebody else picked up that X-Trader software domain and was starting to push out potential updates that was malicious from what it appears to be. So essentially, company goes out of business, somebody domain squats it, buys up that domain, and then starts pushing out malicious code to everybody who has that X-Trader software. And they have listed this thing as an actual 3CX employee, not as a subcontractor, which is one of the other speculations that I really had with, just like what we've seen with LastPass. It was, I don't know if that's been identified yet, if it was an actual LastPass employee or if it was a subcontractor type of coder type of thing in LastPass. So, this is why you got to have asset management, right? Knowing what software is installed on your environments, isn't an allowed software, things of that nature. These are very, very critical things um, to know to help secure your organization, right? Anybody who's an infosec knows team view, like we said last week, team viewers got some of its problems. We have security concerns, but definitely AnyDesk, Simply Help, all these other well-known applications that are used heavily by threat actors. Start with that low-lying fruit, going through, seeing what's in your organization, get a tool that can help you assess these things, right? So know what's in your organization, ladies and gentlemen, and start auditing, start filtering it. Your firewall, if you have application control in your firewalls, that could be a very good nugget of information to help you understand what's potentially communicating out. So, because not all applications have a add and remove button. So, uh, definitely look at your firewalls as well for some of those type of things, right? Session cookie stolen by InfoSticks from his BY. Thank you, Brandon Parsons. Yep. See, even when you're in this industry, you rely on other folks that are in the know, like Brandon Parsons, that's dropping that knowledge in the chat. Thank you so much for that. It's hard to keep up with so much of these things that are going on. I'm not sure what Jasmine Stith is going on about bug fix. I'll try to catch up on whatever the world that is.
CISA adds 3 actively exploited flaws to the KEV catalog, including the critical papercut bug. The 3 vulnerabilities added to the known exploited vulnerabilities catalog are the min.io information disclosure vulnerability, the papercut improper access control vulnerability, and Google Chrome's Skia integer overflow vulnerability. The critical remote code execution bug affecting papercut print management software allows remote attackers to bypass authentication and run arbitrary code. According to an update shared by the company, Melbourne-based Papercut, evidence of active exploitation of unpatched servers emerged in the wild around April 18th of this year.
Yeah, Papercut. I started seeing Papercut stuff getting released and talked about late last week, and we started communicating with our clients that are either implementing it or already have implemented Papercut. Those who don't know, Papercut is like a print server, third-party print server application. It's I don't have any positive or negative feelings about that, right? But these are definitely CVEs. Go into your risk management and find out what's going on. Find out are these CVEs vulnerable, or if your organization is vulnerable to these CVEs, then you may want to do some proper mitigations and things of that nature, right? That's a nasty cut to have paper cut. That's right, Carrie. There's your dad joke of the day. How you like that one? Nasty cut to have a paper cut.
Hyena Code poised to devour GPT-4. In a paper published in March, AI scientists at Stanford University and Canada's Mila Institute for AI proposed a technology that could be far more efficient than GPT-4 or anything like it at gobbling vast amounts of data and transforming it into an answer. Known as Hyena, the technology is available to achieve equivalent accuracy on benchmark tests such as question answering, while using a fraction of the computing power. In some instances, the Hyena Code is able to handle amounts of text that make GPT-style technology simply run out of memory and fail. Its primary achievement is to move beyond Google's transformer architecture to a sub-quadratic approach, which, like its namesake the hyena, promises to be much better at hunting down the right answers.
Yeah, so those who don't know, until recently, don't feel bad. I didn't know either, but GPT-4 is the underlying code that runs the Open API Chat GPT. So GPT-4 is the latest version of that. And it looks like we have some other people that are some other vendors that are coming into the space as Hyena. We see in True true GPT that Elon Musk is touting. We've seen like 3 or 4 other ones that are trying to get into the mix and do their AI equivalent of OpenAI's Chat GDP or GPT. I always get tongue tied on that. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. It's honestly not something I'm trying to make fun of. It's literally getting tongue tied every time I say it. Um, yeah, so hopefully with the less computing power that's being required, that's being touted in here, it's been discussed that OpenAI's Chat GPT requires almost a mining rig to really, really be able to get a bunch of or get things done in an efficient manner. So it's very uh, GPU intensive, the graphic card intensive. Um, so having a newer one come out that requires less resources may be able to be more adoptable inside of organizations. So that way, if you have custom coders, trying to get code produced quicker, maybe a more advantageous resource be able to do that. So, um, as anything gets created, more and more people get into any sort of industry and hopefully make things better. So keep an eye on it. Let's see, what comes out of this, all this, right?
Military helicopter crash blamed on failure to apply software patch. The helicopter in question is an MRH-90 Taipan operated by the Australian Army and was engaged in what has been described as a routine counter-terrorism training activity on March 23rd when it ditched just off a beach in the state of New South Wales. All 10 Australian Defence Force personnel aboard the helicopter were accounted for, with 2 experiencing, quote, minor injuries, end quote. The Australian Broadcasting Corporation reported the likely cause of the incident was failure to apply a software patch, quoting unnamed Army personnel who reported that the patch preventing hot starts had been available for years but had not been applied to all of the Australian Army's Taipans.
How to keep this PG-13? Alex, yeah, drop mail failure, exactly. So, all right, keep it PG-13, Eric. When you talk, when you're in certain industries, military, for example, hospital, almost said hospitality, but not. But when you're in hospital scenarios, things of that nature, patching has real world effects. Seriously, in this situation, life and death effects. Now, does this apply to everybody? No, right? But you get the point. I mean, there's depending on what specter you're in, or what space you're in, it's it's really you really got to apply your stuff, right? So, all right, with that, let's get on with the mid-roll, ladies and gentlemen. And again, if you want to do jaw jacking, then this will be the time, and then I'll see it, and we'll do jaw jacking afterwards.
And now a word from our sponsor, Tynes. Ask anyone at RSA, security teams can't operate in a silo. No SOAR solutions enable users to dynamically collect information outside their systems and use it at multiple points in an automated workflow, but Tynes does. With Tynes, users can exchange real-time information outside its platform and use it to drive automated workflows. Visit tynes.com/build to learn more. That's TINES.com/BUILD. Ghost.
All right. So once again, we are Barricade Cyber. I'm Eric with them, but thanks for Panoptcy and XM Cyber helping to keep Simply Cyber up and running. If you are new to the show, but you've been around for a while, let's definitely talk about the Simply Cyber Community Challenge. We always like to take a few moments during the mid-roll and mention the Simply Cyber Community Challenge. Last Friday, Marcus Granny, Granai. Sorry, Marcus, if I'm butchering your name. I'm sure I am. But last week, he was tagged on Friday to do the Simply Cyber um, community challenge. He put the hashtag in there. Um, and we see people like Jesse Johnson coming out, saying he's proud of them, always being a resource. And this is exactly what this is for, right? So, Marcus, if you're in the chat, please say hi and get ready to tag or start thinking about who you want to tag and go ahead and tag them, to be the next Simply Cyber Community Challenge. Building this community of like-minded folks on LinkedIn, staying up to date with other people of like minds. And you just never know who's going to actually, you know, be, a mentor or, a follower, or be able to keep giving you pieces of nuggets of information to help better yourself, right? So, Marcus, I see you in there. Go ahead and tag somebody, and we will follow up at the end to make sure that the next person has accepted a challenge. Mods, if you can, keep me straight if you're here to make sure that that went through successfully. And we will carry on with the show, ladies and gentlemen.
Token GCP flaw lets attackers backdoor Google accounts.
Oh boy.
Google has addressed a cloud platform GCP security vulnerability impacting all users and allowing hackers to backdoor their accounts using malicious OAuth applications installed from the Google Marketplace or third-party providers. Named Ghost Token by Asterix Security, this security flaw was addressed via a global patch that rolled out in early April. After being authorized and linked to an OAuth token that gives it access to the Google account, malicious apps could be made invisible by attackers after exploiting this vulnerability. Asterix Security said, quote, "Since this is the only place Google users can see their applications and revoke their access, the exploit makes the malicious app unremovable from the Google account."
Yeah, so those who are just being introduced to me, we are a digital forensic incident response firm. I run a digital forensic incident response firm. And toward the beginning of the year, we went through the SANS, or I went through the SANS cloud incident response, which talked about Azure, AWS, I forget the Alibaba, and GCP cloud, or GCP by Google. And I had to tell you, doing the forensics on a GCP tenant is, I just want to go play in traffic. It's one of the worst for a forensic standpoint. And the more and more I hear people using it, it seems like it is, a really, really bad platform to get stuff done in. It's really great for websites from what I hear. If you're just trying to stand up an independent resource, a container or whatever, but real architecture behind the scenes and things of that nature, trying to build out that infrastructure inside of GCP. Again, this is third party. We don't really use GCP. William, remind me of that, and I'll get you that course number. But trying to build in multiple layers and build out network infrastructure and things of that nature in GCP, I am told that it is really, really painful. And like I said, at least from the forensic side, the artifacts that we're able to gather out of GCP is really, really minimal. So I really cringe anytime somebody says that we think we have data loss inside of a GCP tenant. I just cringe. I'm like, all right. Well, you got to know that there's some limitations with what we could be able to do. And this kind of just shows that, right? So a malicious actor, cyber criminal, whatever you want to call them, can stand up a application inside of GCP, and your normal users, your admins, are not going to see it unless they went to certain areas to do things. Microsoft even has a problem with this, where if you want to get certain things done inside of the Azure tenant, some things are only available by PowerShell, right? So, but at least Microsoft has more logging than GCP. So even things that are being executed from PowerShell, it's definitely. Hey, look, there's even a picture. Dr. Gerald Ozier would be very happy. Here's a picture. And it even looks like Pac-Man. Y'all see that? Let me blow that up a little bit. Looks like we're doing Pac-Man. Go away, Bleeping Computer. I really don't like Bleeping Computer's website. But anyway, it looks like Pac-Man to me. But anyway, we shall carry on, ladies and gentlemen.
End quote. Biden administration wants to avoid 5G mistakes in race to beat China on 6G.
Oh boy.
The United States is aiming to shape the development of 6G telecom technology at an early stage of research and development and avoid letting China build up an early lead in next-generation telecommunications. This according to Ann Neuberger, the Deputy National Security Advisor for Cyber and Emerging Technology. She said, quote, "We want to take the list of lessons we've learned from 5G about the importance of early involvement and resilience." End quote.
If y'all seen, I got the Dolphins. All right. This is such a effing train wreck. This is going, I promise not to get too political, but this is going to get a little political. We have the federal government who can't implement CMMC, the cybersecurity framework for the DOD. So they downplayed it to be in this 800-171. They can't freaking roll out anything cybersecurity related and keep it. And they're like, oh, we want to make sure we avoid the 5G mistakes. Y'all can't get standard MFA put in for the DOD, the DOJ, and any of these other things. And you got to keep rolling it back. And I'm not saying this is Biden by any means. We've had many problems with many administrations around cybersecurity. So this is not just a slam on Biden. It is a slam on implementation of cybersecurity by the federal government, right? And I mean, why are we racing for 6G when we're not even fully, unless you believe T-Mobile and they've got 100% 5G coverage all across the globe. I guess technically they do now. They got they're working on it anyway with their partnership with Starlink with Elon Musk. So it will fail over to like if you're going hiking in the mountains, if you don't know, and you're on T-Mobile, apparently they have a partnership that if you're hiking in the mountains, you fall outside a cellular signal, and there's a Starlink satellite above you. You can do SOS messaging and send out alerts through the Starlink network. So, so you don't get stranded on the mountains or hiking or whatever. So that's kind of cool, because we've had problems with hikers going missing in the past and unfortunate things, right? But that's kind of a failover, if you will, right? So you don't have self-service, you will fail over to Starlink if you're on T-Mobile. At least that's what I heard. I haven't heard of that's been fully implemented or any of that stuff. So if you're on T-Mobile, let me know in the chat, so that way I can get educated on that one. I do know they came out with that toward the end of last year, Q3 or Q4 of last year. So there was a huge partnership, but I really want the government to slow down just a tad and be like, let's fix what we have now before racing off and doing a new squirrel event. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it at all, except for driving me nuts. Here we go.
Quote, Cisco and VMware release security updates to patch critical flaws. The most severe of the vulnerabilities is a command injection flaw in Cisco Industrial Network Director, CVE 2023-20036, with a score of 9.9, which resides in the web UI component and arises as a result of improper input validation when uploading a device pack. VMware, in an advisory released on April 20th, warned of a critical deserialization flaw impacting multiple versions of ARIA operations for logs, CVE 2023-20864, with a score of 9.8.
Yeah, this is bad. Successful could allow an attacker to execute arbitrary commands as NT authority system. All right, we're gonna move that. If you're new to IT, network security, info security, NT authority /system is like root. You have unfeathered access to a system. You don't need a password. You don't need anything. This is why a lot of info security people are really, really cautious when you start throwing in new tools like RMM tools that MSPs use, and a lot of screen sharing like Screen Connect and some of these other tools, because they have unfeathered access. They can run command as system inside of your organization's workstations that could cause real problems, right? So allowing yet another third party to get unauthorized, if you're installing, your MSP is installing an RMM tool that is technically authorized, right? But if you have a threat actor inside of an organization that is using exploits to get unauthorized access, like, we didn't say this thing could do this, right? So it's bad. That's bad. That's bad. So if you have VMware, if you have Cisco Industrial Network Director, I don't know how widespread that is. I would imagine that's in the SCADA network and things of that nature, right? So electrical grids, water facilities, things of that nature. But more research, even by me, needs to be done just to verify, because that, I'm assuming we don't, like in our own security that we're monitoring for our clients. This one doesn't sound familiar, so I don't think even us, things that we're doing is impacted by this. But definitely go check, right? That's what we're going to be doing.
Now, last week in ransomware.
Yay!
Last week saw the discovery of Lockbit testing macOS encryptors, leading to an outage on NCR, causing massive headaches for restaurants. Additionally, we saw the discovery by Malware Hunter Team of a Lockbit Apple Silicon encryptor, which is still quite buggy but is being actively developed. Also last week were stories about ex-Conti members and Fin7 pushing a domino malware, Play ransomware using custom data theft and info stealing malware, Trigona targeting Microsoft SQL servers, and UK personnel firm Capita confirming that data was stolen in its cyber attack. Remember, if you...
Yeah, and that is it for them, for the CISO series. Yeah, if anybody knows anybody at Bleeping Computer, can y'all send them a message? Be like, will y'all stop with these freaking ads? Drives me bonkers. And every time you scroll, they're freaking. It's just. But anyway, yeah. Well, every week it's new ransomware, new this, new that, new data exfiltrations, and this is why companies like us exist, right? It's really weird. The Process Explorer driver, that's been around. Using Process Explorer has been used by threat actors for a long time, and to systematically to kill processes that are not supposed to be processed or are supposed to be killed. That's another thing that you can do. Here's another nugget of tip for you. If you do this, talk to your CISO, and if you have a CISO or whatever, but two things that you can do, right? Literally this week as you're going through, download Process Explorer from sysinternals, execute it, see if you can kill your EDR tool, right? See if you can kill that freaking thing. If you're able to kill it, that's very, very bad. You need to talk to your EDR tool manufacturer and figure out how to prevent that, right? One other thing that you should do is, see if you can dump LSAS credentials, right? Here, since this is the end of the show, here we go. We're going to go into jaw jacket for a moment. I'm going to drop a little bit of nugget for you guys. I'll show you app.ne.run just because it's really easy to spin up a VM, and I'm going to minimize this because I don't want to leak my credentials when I log into it. I'm going to show you how to quickly dump LSAS that the threat actors literally do every single day. Just so you know, I do use a program, one website called app.ne.run. I think the site is free. It's been a while since I've you could use some free version of it anyway. We do have a commercial version that we use, but just for all this and to make sure I get fully logged in with TOT, just so I don't, OPSEC myself at all, right? And we'll share my screen again. Strummy83, good job on completing your GRC master course. So this one we'll just tell it to go to google.com. And again, I do know there was a comment about running malware and stuff like that, but yeah, you definitely need a paid version to do a lot of stuff with this application. But so in here, come on. It is acting janky. You're not going to let me do it, are you? Yay, the demo gods hate me. Still logged in. We'll try it one more time. I really want to show you guys, ladies and gentlemen, how the threat actors really do this and how easy it really is. I can't run more than one task at one time. Oh, because this one's still running. All right, let me remove this. Hold on. Let's stop that. Just talk amongst yourselves for a second while I try to see if I can show you, ladies and gentlemen, this train wreck. I figured out a way. Some behind the scenes going from here, then to whatever, and then I'll do task mgr.exe. This will bring up your task manager. So even though the screen resolution is not doing what I wanted to do. We'll make sure we add some more time. So come in here to processes, show processes from all users, and you'll see a process here called LSAS. Now, if I just right click on this thing, create a dump file, this is going to create a dump file of all the credentials and everything that's inside of your organization or inside of your workstation that's currently impacted. And the threat hunter or threat actors are going to run that through Mimikatz, other tools, things of that nature. So that way they can start harvesting your credentials if that's one of the biggest things that they do. So if you are, so if you see these things, you should auto isolate, right? So that's one thing to be looking out for is LSAS. GR. The other question was about the SANS cores. Yep, 509, FOR 509. So this is the this is one I just passed not too long ago, the GIAC Cloud Forensics Responder. So it does dive into the different like I said, Azure, AWS, Google Workspace, and GCP incident response. We do the instructor that we had was out of Amsterdam. So one of my Kroll buddies that was also in the class with me that so we actually went through and did the oh crap, the name forgets, I'm escaping me of the other starts with an A. Alibaba Cloud, sorry, Alibaba. I knew if I just took a second. It kind of goes, oh, Joseph, no, not a dozen tab. Yeah, it's called, tabbing. So I got all my tabs here. So I got tabs. It's one of those things that I always do. Eric Taylor, correct me if I'm wrong. LSAT could be found within the SIM, correct? If Windows Explorers, yeah, Nathan Bolton, yes. If you have your SIM configured, if you have the proper logging, but to be honest with you, that is something that should be detected by the your EDR tool. I honestly leverage the EDR tool for that to capture that LSAS, dumping of the LSAS. And we have rules in place on ours. If if it's detected, it's automatically isolated because nobody in their right mind should be ever messing with LSAS. And if that's just an instant no, and we send you to network jail, if you will. Off topic, what headset are you using, Eric? Pretty cool. That Larry O, I know it's a Corsair, but I don't remember the actual model number. I actually got this one. Jenny, a community challenge still needs a tag. Uh-oh. Marcus, are you still in here? Did Marcus tag anybody, ladies and gentlemen? I thought that I saw a tag. I'm looking at mod chat. I don't see anything. Looks like Kimberly Can Fix It had to take a flight, so she's not available to weigh in on her insight. Jason, good to see you. Have a great day, bud. He tried, but no one accepted. Uh-oh, we have a taker. Strumpy83. William Welch, it's the FOR 509. FOR 509. The SEC is for security, FOR is forensics. Marcus has now officially tagged Strumpy83. Strumpy83. And Strumpy says, beautiful. I accept. Look forward to seeing that. Again, if you are on LinkedIn, please, please, please look out for the Simply Cyber Community Challenge hashtag, and connect with other people that are doing this, right? So we are getting to the top of the hour. I'll leave it open if anybody has any last minute questions that I can be able to answer for a few moments of jaw jacking. I will be happy to do that. Take care, Brandon. Hope you do well. I will scroll back through the chat real quick, make sure I didn't. If there was an issue with the aircraft, Kimberly can fix. That's right. She probably could. She seems very, very talented. Kumar, that's right. That's right. William, yes, I did. We do make indexes for all of our tests. Yes, sir. And if the next question is, will I share mine? No, unfortunately not. There's a lot of stuff that's in there that is not allowed to be shared without proof of taking the GX certification test. So, what kind of asset management is out there by Jasmine Stith? There's a lot. There's a lot. There's a lot. Again, there's what MSPs use, which is called an RMM tool, which is a remote management and monitoring tool that can do it. A lot of EDR, well, not a lot, correct that. Some EDRs could do asset management. There's a number of tools out there that can help you do it. There's some that are free, some that are paid. You just have to go through, unfortunately, through the Google hell and figure out a solution that's going to work for you and your organization. Just order my Flipper before they get banned anywhere. Flipper is an interesting device. I call it a hobbyist device. It's something to play around with and goof around with, but I still prefer, my Proxmark 3. I prefer the big boy tools just because that Flipper Zero has such small power on it. It's not going to be able to do a whole lot. You got to get but as I hate to say, you got to get real intimate with your victim for that Flipper to work. So if you're getting that intimate, something else may be happening. But anyway, question: how do you go about volunteering in the cyber field, entry level? Kumar, just find just find internships. To be honest with you, you could, depending on where you want to go, you could do like Red Canary, talk to them. I think CrowdStrike even has some. There's a bunch of internships that are out there. You just got to find what is in your field of cybersecurity, right? Just like saying if you're in IT, are you a programmer? Are you a developer? Are you a network admin? Are you a system admin? Are you this? Are you that? Same thing with IT or with info security. Are you DFIR? Are you for malware analyst? Are you reverse engineering? Are you this? Are you that? So, lots of internships. I say that. Yep. Thoughts on working in the public sector? No, look, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what my thoughts are, where you work at. It's you gotta find a place that you feel comfortable with and that you can provide for your family at the end of the day. As long as you're not, harming other people, right? So Go where you feel a calling. Don't listen to some knucklehead in South Carolina that give you employment advice on if you should go and work for the government or not. This is crazy. 174 y'all. Well, last questions. I worked in the government contractor for 8 years. Yep. Just like Alina said, it's you gotta find your calling, right? So any last questions before we call it a day? I don't know if Dr. Gerald Ozier will be back tomorrow. I'm sure he will message me or call me a little bit later on and give me the scoop. If not, hopefully I will be back and be able to denounce and be a complete train wreck with dolphins, and maybe I'll do a SpongeBob or something. I don't know, instead of the dolphin. Why is my camera so blurry? Oh, it actually doesn't look blurry on the YouTube. It doesn't look like. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. I hope y'all enjoyed this show. Get ready for the sea shanty. Why is that blowing out? Oh my gosh, my camera. It's because I did the L, so it went. There it goes. Now it goes back in. So, anyway, so stand by for the sea shanty that we always do on our outage. Take care, everyone. Stay well. Stay secure.
There once was a kid whose passwords laid across all sites. They were the same, a criminal, then found their fame by taking that data to go. Soon may a criminal come to steal your pictures and data and run. One day when the crime is done, they'll steal your account and go.